You know what? We all want love, but most of us don't want to date to get it because let's be honest, dating kind of sucks. But I fully believe it doesn't have to if we actually know what we're doing. Hi, I'm Kira Sabin, and this is Reinventing Dating, a smart and sweary podcast for all singles to learn the mindsets and skills to date with intention and confidence. Join me weekly as I break down the science and psychology behind what's working in our dating culture and what isn't. Every week, I'll bring a new topic, a trend, a skill, or mindset that can help us get out of our own way to learn how to date for relationships that we actually want. Because I fully believe and know that love isn't broken, but dating kind of is. So let's reinvent it together. Hello there, Sugar Pants. Welcome back. Welcome back to Reinventing Dating podcast with Kira Sabin. Today is season 1, episode 2. It's another Foundations episode. What is love? And before I dive in to what I think is going to be one of the best things that has ever come out on any of these podcasts, of mine at least, the topic of what the hell love is, what it isn't, and what we confuse it with. Because it's a lot, and it's keeping us single and lonely. And when I say in the intro, I truly think that dating can get a shit ton easier if we know what we're doing, and knowing what love looks like, knowing what love feels like, and knowing how to spot people who we can build a relationship with that creates love is a skill you can build, and it is a gift. But before I go into it, I have a quick announcement that the Reinventing Dating podcast membership is here. Like at this moment, this is the announcement when this podcast goes out. I have taken is because if this isn't your first rodeo and you have been following me for a while, you'll know that I used to have over 300 episodes on this podcast. And I've recently taken them and put those episodes in a membership for a couple of different reasons. A, some of those episodes were 10 years old. I don't think they were very good anymore. The quality of audio wasn't that good. My knowledge wasn't as succinct. But also, I wanted a way to organize them. I wanted to be able to come back and do this podcast better. I wanted to do a clean slate so I could basically have any person of any pod or anybody come visit this podcast and know where to start and be able to start learning instantly. Because people have podcasts for 1,000 different reasons. Some of them are to entertain. Some of them are to share stories. Some of them are to educate. And I want this podcast in particular to be educational. I want us to learn and continuous learning all of the skills and mindsets that get us into great relationships and get us love. So the podcast membership is really easy. Anybody can join. It's open to anybody over the age of 21, no matter your gender, no matter how you identify. And here is what you will get. You get the full access to the podcast library. So it's over 300 episodes. And not only, you don't have to go to some special site to listen to them. You'll actually get your own private feed so you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to it. So you'll get to listen to it just like any other podcast. It's just called a private podcast feed. So that podcast feed will only be for you. You're also going to get monthly bonus episodes. I'm guaranteeing one a month, but I know with who I am, there's going to be more than one. And in fact, I've already got a bonus episode for anybody who joins right now. I did a short breakdown of the David Beckham, and I'll say Victoria Beckham too, docu-series that's on Netflix right now, talking a little bit about the relationship and him cheating. This membership is going to allow me to just come and do more a little bit raw podcasts, share my thoughts as they happen in real time, throw it up there. So there will definitely be bonus episodes every month. There's already one right now that you can only access if you're in the membership. You also are going to get an opportunity to submit questions for Q&A episodes. You can only submit them if you are in the membership. I just think that's fair. The people who are kindly investing back into this podcast, their time and their energy and their money, should get to be the ones who get to submit questions first. You also get to weigh in on topics, upcoming topics. I'm going to be doing short series, and then, of course, movies and TV shows for ruining rom-coms. You'll get to vote on those. You'll get to vote on them in a very not fancy schmancy, but fancy schmancy because I'm in there every day with you. Private Facebook group with regular access to me and other community members. So we can discuss episodes. We can have bigger conversations in there. I'll probably do some private events and even probably private ruining rom-coms where we'll watch a rom-com together and break it down as we do it. And then finally, for the $20 you pay a month to be part of this membership, you get a warm, fuzzy feeling inside because you're supporting love and this ridiculous person, aka me, trying really hard over here to put out a podcast for free every week and run my business and coach my clients and take people on retreats around the world and everything else. So if you love the podcast, if you're learning a lot, and if you just want to take that to the next level, the Reinventing Dating podcast membership for $20 a month is a great way to do that. You just go to learn.reinventingdating.com and you will be able to sign up right there. It'll take you instantly to access episodes, to start accessing some of the playlists that I'm putting together, to submit a Q&A question, everything. And it's going to be getting bigger and bigger and evolving into bigger and better things. So get in there early and while it's a great price. All right. Thank you for giving me that time. And let's get into the topic of today, which is what is love? And not only what is love, but what love gets confused with, what it isn't, and then how do we actually get it and keep it? And I'm going to tell you right now that this will be a very shortened version of my free workshop that I do. So if you are better at like video than you are at just audio, there is going to be an extended version of this right on my site for free. It's still on the Relationship Quotient site. I will have it in the notes on this and you can go. It's for freebie. It's also on my Instagram, but it's the whatisloveworkshop.com. And you can go, you just have to put your name in so I know where to send it to. And then it's an hour-long workshop. And it's really honestly good. It's really fucking good. So I'm going to give you just some basics of it today. And then that workshop really digs in. So without further ado for today, the condensed version of what is love. Please, in your mind, insert Hadaway from the 90s singing What is Love? Because I can't afford it to put it in this podcast episode, but I'd like it to be there for a touch of fun. So go ahead and throw that on the background. Go to YouTube, go to Spotify. But guys, what is love? Now, before I dig in to all of the psychology and the science and kind of some of the mind-blowing shit that I'm going to share with you today, I want to take a second and I want to pause, and you can even pause the podcast for a second and think about it. I want you to think about, when was the last time you felt loved? What did it feel like? What did it feel like in your body? What did it look like from the outside? Take a second, and I just want you to think about that. Okay, great. Now, before we move any further, I want to address something very quickly. There's a very good chance that when I brought up, think of the last time you felt loved, you immediately started thinking maybe about an ex or romance or somebody you're dating now or somebody from your past. But my guess is, because of the way that our culture likes to discuss love, you immediately thought of romantic love. And that's okay. That is one type of love. But I also want to make sure that anybody listening to this podcast has zero shame about maybe if they haven't dated much. Maybe they haven't had the relationship that they thought they would have. Maybe they don't know if they've ever been quote unquote in love. And they're racking their brain about it, or maybe feeling pretty terrible about it. I want you to put that all aside today and really listen to what love is and what it's about, because it's probably not exactly what you think. And I want to promise you that you have been loved, that you can get more love in your life, and that anybody and everybody can get out of their own way to have more love. All right. So I just asked you, when was the last time you felt love? What did it feel like? What did it look like to you? But now I want you to take virtually everything that you know about love and to Ted Lasso this up for a second. I want you to be a goldfish. And I want you to forget everything that you think you know about love. Whatever you learned from 17 magazine growing up, or Cosmopolitan quizzes, or your 8th grade girls like gym class, or whatever you think you learned about love. Not romance, not relationships, not dating, not blowjobs, not anything, but actual love. I want you to forget all of it. And I want to first talk about what I think is the common love myth that as a society or culture, we all believe. It's what I believed. It's what, when most of my clients work with me, believe. They're like, oh yeah, yep, that's it. So this is, I think, the most common thought or theory that we have about love. First, we, quote, fall in love with another person. We meet them. There's probably some dating. There's going to be some making out. There might be sex. There might be physical intimacy. There might not. But we, quote unquote, fall in love with that other person. Are we all on the same page so far? Okay, that's step one. Number two, if it's the right person, right, that hopefully you're going to know within a few months or by the year point. So if it's the right person, and we love to call the soulmate, the twin flame, the one, we will stay in love with them indefinitely because it's the right person and we fell in love, and boom, whoop, there it is. We're going to die embracing together, like in The Notebook. We're going to hold hands on the porch when we're 80. We're going to be changing each other's diapers, like all of that. Because if it's the right person, that's what's going to happen. And that no matter what happens in your relationship throughout the years, throughout family, whatever, your love, because you're in love and they're the right person, will conquer all. It will see you through everything. And then finally, in this theory, if it is not the right person, we may either fall out of love with them or them with us. And then so we try it again. We go out, we meet somebody, we date, we fall in love, hoping this time it's the right person so that we can get the whole 80s falling in love, dying, embracing, diaper changing. So who here can go, yes, that's probably what I believe or have believed or like partially have believed, maybe listen to this podcast a bunch and know a little bit differently. So here's what I'm going to tell you about that kind of theory that I think most TV shows based on, most books based on, most movies are based on, that idea of falling in or out of love. The problem is none of it is true. Zero. Zip, zap. None of it. Not one little bit. So let's break down what love actually is. Okay, so you might have a bunch of definitions of love. And I know people will say to me, but what about love is this, or love is strong, or love is kind, or love is a verb, or love is For right now, we are just going to subscribe to one definition of love because that's the one your body actually subscribes to. And before I go any further, I just want to say that this science and psychology and research that I'm going to be sharing right now is from Dr. Barbra Frederickson. She wrote a book called Love 2.0. It is a backbone in some of the things that I do. I think it is brilliant. This is not my work. I am more like a professor where I share lots of theories and research and psychology and science, but this is her work, and I want to make sure that she has proper credit to it. So, your body feels a lot of different emotions throughout the day, throughout your week, throughout life. And one of those emotions is love. So, another emotion is joy. Another emotion is frustration. Another emotion is sadness. Another emotion is anger, right? Are we like looking at the emojis here? These are the emotions that we experience. And one of those emotions is love. And love is a micro moment of warmth and connection that you share with another loving being. Love is a positive emotion, a supreme emotion, but it is just an emotion, just like sadness, anger, joy, and fear. And if you guys think about it for a second, I want you to think about anger, or I want you to think about sadness, or any of our emotions. We don't fall into those emotions and they last forever, nor do we fall out of those emotions. That's not the way emotions work. Love is our supreme emotion that makes us come most fully alive and feel most fully human. And it is perhaps the most essential emotion for thriving and good health. It is a feeling of a moment of connection, true positivity, charged connection with other living beings. Now, here's the thing about emotions. No emotion is built to last, not even the ones that feel really good. So true, you can learn to coax your fleeting micro moments of love to linger with you a bit longer, and you can revive them later through conversation or memories, but their duration is best measured in seconds or minutes, not months or years. Now, do you know how long emotions are supposed to last? Giving you a second to think there. Here's the answer, and it's probably going to surprise you. 90 seconds. Not 90 minutes, not 90 days, not 90 weeks. 90 seconds. That's how long it takes from emotion to click in your brain and dissipate in your body. Now, if you're feeling an emotion much longer than that, that's because of rumination. That work is from a woman named Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor Green. She has a whole book about it called Stroke of Insight. These will all be in my show notes. But 90 seconds. So even when you're connecting with someone, even when you are feeling seen and heard, because that's what I feel like love feels like between Danny and I, is that moment of where we're present, when we're together, when we're truly seeing or hearing each other or supporting each other or taking care of each other. That's when I feel most loved. And I know because we talk about it, that's when he feels most loved. Love isn't the fireworks and the sparks that we think it is. That's all movie shit. To sell tickets and get your butt into theaters, or buying or subscribing to their TV show, or buying their next book in the series. They want you to feel as much emotion as possible so that you keep on coming back. But that's not actually love. Love is a fleeting, powerful openness you feel well up in your chest, but it is not a rock solid ring made of metal on your left hand. Now, here is the easiest way to know if it's love. Because, man, I see a lot of things called love that are nothing to do with love. If it is love, it always feels good. That's how you know it's love. It may feel like a momentary connection where you feel seen, heard, and understood. But if you feel scared, that's not love. If you feel hurt, that's not love. If you feel ignored, that's not love. If you feel disrespected, that's not love. Those are all parts of relationships. Let me just keep going here. So here's what love is not. As I mentioned before, you can't fall in or out of it because it's just an emotion. Doesn't work that way. Just because you feel it once or feel it for a while doesn't guarantee it's going to continue being there. Here's one that's a little bit hard to swallow, but is really important to know. It is not long-lasting or unconditional, but it is forever renewable. And that's a very different thing. Unconditional versus forever renewable. One is just we expect that it's going to be there forever. The other is understanding that this is something that you'll have to create, just like joy, just like everything else. It's also not exclusive to romantic relationships. The love that you feel with your pet, the love that you feel with your friends, the love you feel with your kids, the love that you feel with your family, that is also love. We now may express it differently, but it's still love. Love also cannot be shameful, disappointing, frustrating, or hurtful. Like I mentioned, relationships can. And it's regularly confused with attachment, like, lust, trauma bonding, and codependency. So why does our original theory of love that we started with not work? Because once again, emotions just don't last. We can't feel something and only feel that emotions for the rest of our lives. We can't fall into or out of emotions. That's not how our bodies work. Guys, I hate to say this, but it doesn't exist. There are many people that you can be in a relationship with. There are many people that you share values with, that you share dreams and goals with, that you can build a relationship where love feels great every single day. And I don't want that to be devastating. I want that to feel exciting. That there's not just one person out there that you're hoping to meet and that they're not halfway across the fucking world, but that there's many people that you can be in a relationship with and build something absolutely stunning. The fall in love theory also doesn't work because the exciting love of a new relationship is more about relationship stages. Don't worry, that's going to be another podcast episode. Unhealed wounds, attachment styles, and hormone cocktails. Love also can't conquer an unhealthy, dysfunctional relationship. And it definitely can't conquer addiction or abuse. Just like any emotion can't conquer a whole entire situation. So I want you to think for a second about all the times that you have felt hurt by love in your life. That somebody has hurt you, that somebody said something that made you feel bad and blamed it on love. Maybe they said they didn't love you anymore. And I want you to know that's actually not how love works. And that what happened was that relationship didn't work. And here is the thing that you'll hear me say every fucking week. That's mostly because we don't really know how to have relationships very well. So you're not broken. Love isn't over. Chivalry isn't dead. We just want different relationships than what we had for thousands of years. And we really haven't prepared ourselves for how to create them. That's all it is. And that's what I teach here. So hopefully you got some good thoughts already. I'm going to tell you a couple of other things that we confuse love with here, and then I'm going to finish with how we get love. But really, this is less than one half of that workshop. So if you're liking this, if you're really learning a lot, if you feel like, shit, I have never thought about this before or thought about it this way, that workshop is there for you. And by the way, in the work that I don't just coach where we go, hey, what do you want to talk about today for dating? No, we learn shit. We learn how to set boundaries. We learn how to build self-worth and self-compassion. We learn what the growth versus fixed mindset looks like. We learn what our attachment style is and how you show up, how it shows up in dating and relationships that you might not even be aware of. We learn stuff so that we can do this better. I can tell you 1,000,000% that my relationship, which is so fucking beautiful on a daily basis, better than I could have ever expected, is because we have worked on these mindsets. We have worked on these skills and we talk everything out. And we've learned how to be present and show up for each other. And these are, once again, learned behaviors, and we probably didn't learn them from our parents. Now, here are some ideas that we confuse with love. If someone is chasing us, it means that they want us, that they want to date us, that they want to have a relationship with us, or that they love us. And that is a no. In fact, it's a nope. That's actually part of attachment styles. That's more about winning you over, winning your attention or your affection, not anything to do with love. And I see a lot of times people on the internet talk about how frustrated they are by the people who only seem to want the chase. And what I want to tell you is, as soon as you see them start chasing, stop running and start a relationship. That sounded so cheesy. Okay. Next, romantic gestures like flower or candies or trips or expensive dinners. That those things equal love. No, they do not. Especially if they barely know you. If they're trying to win you over, that has nothing to do with love, and it has nothing to do with building a good relationship. The fact that we're so focused on who the hell pays for the first date rather than how to build a relationship is mind-boggling to me. The fact that we focus on ridiculous shit that shouldn't matter, but have zero idea how to solve a problem with another human. What? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Next, you might have been taught that being put on a pedestal, someone looking up for you, someone doting, someone adoring you, somebody who does everything for you is love. No, that is not love at all. Because the moment that one person is put on a pedestal, two things are happening. Number one, you're going to fall off at some point because you're human. You're going to become a real person, and you want to be a real person in a relationship, not some adoration, not some story they have in their mind. Because you can't create connection and intimacy and love with stories. But you also, so not only will you fall off, you are also instantly in a power struggle phase. And if you follow me, if you know me, and next week I'm going to be talking about this, the power struggle phase is the second phase in the stages of relationships or phases of relationships. And it's the one that most couples don't get out of. I'm going to talk about it next week. But the moment that somebody is above someone else in that relationship, whether we're putting them there or they're putting us there, you're instantly putting yourself in the power struggle phase, and you're probably not going to get out of it. So there's a couple of things that we also confuse with love. I'm not going to deeply go into them. I encourage you to go to the workshop. One of them is when we start to like somebody, when we start to have a crush on somebody, when we start to fancy someone, that can feel like love to us if we don't necessarily know what love is. That's actually just like, it's maybe also called infatuation. It's also called the obsessive love phase. It can also be called the honeymoon period. You've probably heard something along those lines, right? I'm sure you haven't heard obsessive love phase because I'm the one who calls it that, or like psychologists do, but probably like the honeymoon period. And the thing is that it is a normal stage in a relationship. But a lot of times we assume that's love, and that's just really us liking somebody and also our bodies creating chemicals that are creating attachment to them. So we ignore the things we should be seeing. We don't necessarily ask deeper questions. And then all of a sudden we're with somebody for a year or 2 years and we're like, oh my God, I don't even know if I like this person. I'll get there next week. Next, love bombing. What I think is just really tough is that what we have shown and even see on YouTube and TikTok and social media, these like grand gestures, these humongous gestures, and that we think that's love. Well, look at how much that person loves that person because they did this or they put this time or this energy or this money. But especially what we don't know is, especially when that happens in the beginning of a relationship, that's actually called love bombing. That's not romance. That's certainly not love. That's somebody trying to win you over with grand romantic gestures, always complimenting you, requesting constant attention, demanding commitment, making soulmate claims. When somebody is doing that really quick and really early without you guys barely spending much time together, that's not love. And the mind fuck here is Hollywood tells us that's what love is. That if somebody loves you, they're probably going to go and do a flash mob at a train station in New York, or they're going to do a whole like embarrassing moment, or maybe they're just going to crawl up on a fire escape like Pretty Woman. But the thing is that these gestures, they're not actually about love. And when somebody is excessively wanting your time, your attention, your feelings, that's actually manipulative. It's not love. Because healthy relationships that create the regular emotion of love take time, trust, and vulnerability. And you can't rush that shit no matter how much you try. So when I hear stories such as, oh my gosh, my cousin just up and met her new boyfriend and they are like deeply in love in 3 months and just eloped, I'm not going to tell you that what they don't have isn't creating love. But what I'm saying is 3 months is not very long for you to create a relationship where you know each other well enough that you're going to be able to continue feeling that love every day once the newness of the honeymoon phase wears off. So here's the question that you're all asking. How the fuck do we actually get love then? If we're not falling in it, if Hollywood's lied to us, if Disney told us bold-faced untruths. How do we actually get love? You build a solid and healthy relationship with another imperfect person that creates the emotion of love all day, every day, whenever you need it. Period. I'm going to tell you a little bit more. I'm not going to just throw that down. I want you to think about a garden. All right. Even if you have a black thumb like myself, because I cannot seem to keep plants alive. And then Danny takes over and fixes them, so don't worry, they don't die on my watch. But no matter if you have a black thumb, you know that for anything to grow in our world, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need soil. You're going to need water. You're going to need sun. Those are the basics for any life to grow, basically, in our world. And it's the same for love. For love to grow, you need an environment full of trust, safety, connection, communication, kindness, nurturing. And without being dramatic, without those things, love cannot grow, and it certainly can't evolve, and it will die. So what is a relationship that creates love every day? Look, working through problems. We don't talk about that, do we? Who here has stopped a friendship or a relationship because they legit did not know how to talk about it and make it better? They didn't know how to say, this hurt me. You hurt me. And all of a sudden, we're not in their life anymore, or they're not in our life anymore. And that shit hurts. Who here has been cut out of somebody's life because that person didn't know how to solve a problem with them or talk through something? You're also going to have to know how to express emotions and not just love. You're going to have to learn how to express frustration and disappointment in a kind way that keeps the relationship feeling good, in a safe way. I had to learn how to not lose my shit. That's what my family loved to do. When we had a problem, there'd be blowups. Nobody knew how to talk to each other at a normal voice in a kind way. We would just shout till we felt heard, and then there'd probably be crying, and then nothing would be solved. I've had to learn how to express myself in a way that I can actually share and be heard. Because communication's not working if one or both people aren't listening. Commitment and prioritization. You can't have a relationship with somebody that creates love every day if that person can't prioritize to like you in their life and commit to you in their life. And now I'm not saying that somebody owes you a commitment after 3 weeks. But if you've been dating somebody for 6 months and they're not willing to talk about it, that's emotional unavailability. Next, a relationship that creates love every day has physical touch and connection. Now, notice I didn't say sex. There's a large spectrum of people in sex drive that I think we're just starting to have conversations about now. And if you are like me, I turned 50 this year. But if you're over the age of 35 or 40, you're probably already dating people who may have a hard time keeping it going. My magic vagina is now dry and dusty. These are normal things that we don't think about when we're quote unquote falling in love, but absolutely affects sex lives later on. That stuff you can work through, but what's very important and what actually creates thriving in love is physical connection, is touching, is hugs. Did you guys know that for thriving, we're supposed to have 11 hugs a day? I can't make that shit up. It's true. A relationship that creates love every day, you have similar values and goals. You look at the world a similar way. You want the same things. You're both looking for the same types of relationships. If you're religious, they also value religion. If you want kids, they also have that goal. You can't have a relationship where one person doesn't feel like their needs are being taken care of or has completely different goals or values than the other person. A relationship that creates love every day has deep trust. The more and more that I do this work, I keep coming back to a word that I never thought would be such a word I would use. And it's not love. It's safe. Because we can't feel love on a daily basis if we don't feel physically, emotionally, and mentally safe in that relationship. You can't feel love if you don't feel safe. You have to have deep trust that person is going to keep showing up, that person is going to come through for you, that person is your partner and your teammate, and you're willing to share with them your stuff to build that kind of trust. A relationship that creates love every day is open to learning and growth. When I start talking to people about what you should actually be looking for, to me, it's somebody who doesn't want you as is. It's somebody who wants to grow with you. It's somebody that understands that relationships and dating take some work, take some tough moments, take awkward conversations, take boundaries, take people saying no so that everybody feels good. You have to know that is one of the top qualities that we should be looking for or being ourselves if we are out there dating, and that is open to learning about who they are and open to learning about who you guys can be together and what you can build together. And then a relationship that creates love every day has self-care as well as couple care. Now, I could put about 17 more things on this list that I won't because I'm going to keep it pretty small. But autonomy is a big thing. Having your own space, maybe some of your own friendships or community, having things that you love and maybe your partner's not passionate about is totally normal and absolutely healthy. And ultimately, one of my favorite workshops that I teach is wants versus needs. What are the needs of every relationship? There are personal needs and then there are relationship needs. And the personal needs are basically that we have to take care of ourselves, our physical being, our emotions, so that we can offer a relationship what it needs. So my friends, my sugar pantses, please hear this. Whether you have had a relationship and lost, whether you've never dated or never had a relationship, whether you're starting over or still grieving a past relationship, whatever it is, you still get to have love. But it's going to get so much easier when you learn how to date to create a relationship where love can last, where it can be felt. So I want you to see you are not broken. You are not unlovable. You just didn't learn these mindsets or skills. And that's really because most of them have been researched just in the last 30 or 40 years. Our parents didn't have this information. But these skills and these mindsets, which are exactly what I teach you, you get to use to keep love coming back again and again. So if you want love, stop waiting for it. It's not going to show up at your house. It's not. You're not going to probably just bump into someone on the street and it turns into a relationship. So stop waiting for it. Stop looking for it like it's lost. Stop chasing it. Stop begging for it from people who are not able to give it to you. And get your mind and skills in the right place to choose a good partner to be open to love and grow with another imperfect person, be able to identify your fears and your sabotages that are maybe keeping you single and you don't even know. That's what a coach really helps with. Create skills to work through conflict, create skills to ask for what you need so you can show up as your actual self and not just a version of yourself, because people can't love versions of you. Be open to listening. Be open to listening and collaboration. And most importantly, lean into the consistency and comfort, because that is where all the ooey gooey goodness is, my friend. All right, guys, what did you learn about love today? I would love to hear from you. Slide into my DMs on Instagram. Find me on Messenger. You can email me, Kira@reinventingdating.com. Look how I have that fancy new email. Tell me what you learned. And if you want to learn more, I hope you really do, head over to whatisloveworkshop.com. That's all it is, whatisloveworkshop.com. It's going to take you to a page on my website. You just have to enter your name and your email so I know where to send it. And you're going to get an actual, full hour-long workshop that has a bunch more to just clarify things and what it might be confused with. But it's worthwhile. I'm going to say it's a solid workshop. And if you want to discuss this with me or the group, then join me in the Reinventing Dating Podcast membership. It's $20 a month. It starts today. So I don't know how big it will be, so you'll have a lot of my attention at the beginning. But it's going to be great. And you can sign up and find out all the details at learn.reinventingdating.com. Okay, guys, that's it for today. If you loved this, subscribe, share it with your friends, and let's reinvent this together.